Yeah. So yesterday I came to know that uh, many people were not knowing actually partial derivative. So that is little bit make it difficult to understand gradient descent. So in very short, I will explain you. Okay, what happens in partial derivative. So what happened that if a equation is having only one variable and you differentiate, okay, then it's fine. But suppose if it is having two variables, what will you do? So what we do in that case, if there are two variables, like here in the screen, if you see that here fxy, it is having two variables, x and y, both are variable here. Now for partial derivative, what you do, you keep at a time one of the variable constant. Suppose you keep y constant first time and just differentiate like this with respect to x. So this is partial derivative sign. Okay, and if you do d, this is derivative sign. So we are doing here partial derivative with respect to x. So when you do that, it will come 2x and this will become 0 because this is we treated as a constant. So one is this thing, and then next time you do with respect to y. Let me scroll down. Okay, so here you can see second time we are doing with respect to y and we kept the x as constant. Okay, now what is the impact of this derivative? Okay, so here one example, I am taking this example because it is easy to understand with this. Then we'll come to gradient descent for a small time and I will explain more. Okay, now here you see this is the formula of volume of a, I think this is cylinder. Yes. Okay, so what happened uh, when Mhm. Okay, so here what happened, this is a volume. Okay, now I want to see uh, what is the change in volume with respect to change in radius or height. So these are two variable here. One is radius and other one is height. So again, here we are having two variables. Okay. Any question till now? Okay. So we kept one of the thing constant, either r or h. This time we are doing with respect to r means we have kept the h constant. Okay, so after derivation, partial derivative we did here with respect to r. Okay, once we did it, this is nothing but your frh by with respect to r. Okay, once you do that, you got this. What it means, okay, it says as the only radius changes by the tiniest amount, the volume changes by this much. Okay, now we started from volume, we did the partial derivative, this is the result of partial derivative. Okay, and what is the meaning of this? The meaning is we are doing the partial derivative with respect to r. Okay, so as the radius changes, because you are doing with respect to radius, you have kept the height constant. When you do only with the radius by 10 is very small amount, the volume changes by this much. Okay, 2 pi r h. This is change in volume. This is volume. Okay, now I will come back to uh, our gradient descent. Okay, now what was happening here? Also, while going through this, I cannot check the chat. So if someone is typing any question, I won't be able to see it. Okay, so if you have question with me, please ask me. Okay, so here, where is my gradient descent? This is the algorithm I explained yesterday. Okay, and yeah, this one was least square. Okay, actually in this slide one thing is missing. This is I will tell you, this is incorrect. This is not j of theta actually. This is h naught x. Yeah, so this is not j of theta. J of theta not, I mean theta 1 is that was y predicted minus y actual square. Okay, and then our y predicted was theta naught 0 plus theta 1x. So you put it here, then it comes. So in short, what was happening in gradient descent? Okay, in our equation here we are having two variables, theta naught and theta 1. Okay, and this is our gradient descent, and this is theta naught or not theta naught. Don't get confused between m and theta naught. This is nothing but c plus mx. I am explaining with respect to m because it is easy to understand. Okay, otherwise here m is theta 1 only. Okay, now we just saw the partial derivative. So here you forget about this learning rate now. This is your partial derivative. So what is the meaning here? My j of theta, this one, j theta this and 1 is nothing but error, right? This is my error. And whole point of doing gradient descent is to find the value of theta 0 and theta 1 for which your error is minimum, right? So when you do partial derivative, first in terms of 0, theta 0, keeping theta 1 constant, and then with theta 1, keeping theta 0 constant. The idea is to find theta. Okay, so here for when you do for m or theta 1, what we are trying to do, you are at particular point. So when you do partial derivative, it says with slight change in m, okay, with slight change, very small change in m, this how much error gets changed, that is partial derivative. Okay, so this m, okay, this is small change of m, if it is on the right hand side, your slope is positive. Okay, that's why we write it m minus j of m in short. Okay, so that is the reason we are doing this. Yes, any question? Okay, and when we were on the left hand side, our slope was negative. Okay, so when you do minus this, same thing, right? This term will be negative, so this become m plus this term. So you will tend to move this side. When you are on the right hand side, you tend to move on this side. So that was the whole idea of gradient descent. Okay, so that is what we learned yesterday. Any question on this? We'll move forward.
Rishiji, so we do partial derivative only with respect to m only, right? So what about b? Actually, b also will tend to change, right?
Which one?
Theta 0. I mean to say in y is equal to mx plus c only we we took m as an example. What about c then?
Same thing happened there also. So with other graph, you take other graph that is with respect to c. Okay, that is means theta 0. So here j is theta 0, or you say C. Okay, same thing happen here. We try to find out the value of C. The idea is exactly same. The way we were trying to find out M, here we try to find out the C. Now,
Oh, okay.
okay. Now
Mm,
what happens
mm,
in algorithm? This is wrong. I will correct it. Okay, this is wrong. J of theta is, this is a big equation. This is just a line. This is H naught X. Okay. So what happened? Uh, in algorithm, this theta j is nothing but theta d0 and theta 1 both. Okay, so if we are having more than two coefficient, theta 0, theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, this is a generalized equation. Okay, so it will calculate all the variable, all the coefficients. Okay, and it is
okay.
simultaneous update. Okay, simultaneous update means when you started, you took some value for theta 0 and theta 1, and when you calculate this, so you will write at a one shot only, theta 0 will be equal to theta 0 minus theta j of theta 0 theta 1 by theta. Now this is with respect to 0, right?
Uh-huh.
Now next time theta 1,
Theta 1.
okay, theta 1, and so simultaneous update is that when I execute these two equation, okay, in this equation theta 0, I am using theta 1. Okay, so this theta 1 come from here, from up. Okay, whatever we initialize theta 0 and theta 1. Okay, and when we calculate theta 1, here is also theta 0. So this theta 0 is not this theta 0. This is this one. So when you calculate this theta 0 and theta 1, this value, the one which I am highlighting in blue color, this should not have any impact on theta 1. Only this theta 0 will be used here, not this one. Okay, so that is the meaning of simultaneous update. Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So it means so many, and to say we won't be seeing, but so many parabolas will be in the computing in the background based on the number of thetas.
Yes, very much. It happens in the
Okay.
background. Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you, Rishiji. Got it.
Hmm. So you go through it 2-3 times. I'm sure when you go 2-3 times, you will get many other doubts also. It
Thank you,
happens.
Rishiji.
Yeah. It took me long time to understand actually. Okay.
So
Now,
ऋषि जी,
हाँ,
ये आपका जो इक्वेशन है थीटा जे इक्वल टू थीटा जे माइनस अल्फा,
हाँ,
so here LHS should be theta j only or it should be new variable?
sorry, what? Theta j what?
In LHS we have theta j, in
हाँ,
RHS also we have theta j.
हाँ, हाँ.
So those should not be same or
Yeah. See, this theta j, right? This theta j is coming from previous step, right?
okay. So
You
it's
are,
not the same.
because you are recalculating theta j. You are in this graph, you got this point, you have to come to this point, best fit line, but you will not come in one shot, you will come here. Okay, so this is the point 1 and this is the point 2. So this theta j is from point 1. Okay, and when you calculate, you are calculating theta j for point 2. After this you will come to point 3, then again for point 3 you will calculate again theta j, and this time
Right.
you will use the theta j from second point. Okay,
so the variable name should be changed, I think. So theta j, instead of that it should be theta j p something, some different, right?
no, this is recursive operation, right? Iterative, so it goes in loop every time. It happens, right? You keep on modifying the value of the same variable to reach somewhere, so you should not yeah, it will be difficult in the algorithm to implement.
Okay, got it, Rishi.
Any other question? See, this gradient descent, this is the single algorithm which we will use in all the algorithms. I mean, behind the screen in all machine learning algorithm, we try to minimize the error, and everywhere, even in deep learning, everywhere we use this algorithm only. Only difference is instead of line equation, right? Because we are talking about simple linear regression, that's why we are taking here line. This equation just change, this equation, depending on the context. If it is deep learning, the different equation will come. If it is polynomial, different equation will come. So this will keep on changing, but the algorithm will work the same way. So that's why this is very important. However, if you just understand that this is just to minimize the error, that is also enough. Okay.
Yes.
Now, so we just saw linear regression. Okay, simple linear regression. Okay, so first we'll see how to code it. Okay. So what we are doing here, first of all, we'll see our data. Was it there? What is there? Okay. So I will just explain. I am not typing anything. For simple linear regression, so first of all, this library matplot is to plot the graph. Okay. Then we are importing the pandas library. Okay. Line number 5. Now in line number 8, we are importing the data set. Okay. So first we'll import the data till that point and see what we get. Okay. So simple linear regression means we are having only one independent variable. Can anyone tell me, in this equation, we are going to predict the salary based on experience. What is independent variable here?
Years of experience.
Years of, and what is the feature?
Feature also.
Correct. Years of experience. Correct. But you didn't get confused.
No, I'm just thinking. Even yes, years of experience.
Yeah. Fine. Correct. And dependent variable is salary. Okay. Yeah. And also salary is called as predictable variable. Means the variable which you are going to predict. Okay. So how many readings are there starting from 0 till 29? So we are having around 30 readings, in which one, based on years of experience, salary is provided. Okay. So now we will apply here simple linear regression. Now what we are doing in line number 9, we are importing all the value in variable x except the last column. That is the meaning of this code. Okay. So this is pandas pandas syntax, how to import all the columns except the last. So I will execute this, and then x came. Okay. So you can see, if I open x, I can see the one column. Okay. Because last one I didn't import it. Now y, I will import the last column, that is dependent variable. Okay. So you execute this and you will get this. So this is the salary column. Till here everything is clear to everyone? Any question on this? Okay, no question. So now you understood why everyone is sure that why I splitted x and y. X is having all the independent variable. Here we are having only one independent variable. Okay. Y will be having dependent variable, what you are going to predict. Okay. Okay. Now, this is next step is to split the variable x and y. Okay, so within independent variable and dependent variable, I want two sets. One is training and one is your train. One is training, one is test set. Okay, so here, if you see, this is for your independent. Okay, this is for your dependent. Okay, and now x is splitted into train and test, and y is also splitted into train and test. Why training and testing? When you build your model, okay, I explained before, you give input, okay, you give output, okay, and then algorithm decide the logic. It gives you the logic. Okay, so this input and output data is nothing but your training set. Okay, you are training your model using algorithm and to give you a logic. Once you get the logic, then what you do? Once you get the logic, you give here input. Okay, and this is from your test set. Okay, input, and you give logic which you find out here, and you take out output. Okay, now this is output is nothing but your prediction. Okay, and one output you are already having with test, right? Y test is storing nothing but your real output. So this real output is called actual values. Okay, so once you and these both are test set. Okay, this is not test prediction. Okay, so the difference between these two values is nothing but your error. Everyone clear here? No question? Okay. So,
Rishiji, can you elaborate this thing again?
okay.
This X-train, X-test.
Okay. Okay. See what happened. You are having this reading, this data set. You are able to see this data set, data frame which I am showing?
Yes, Rishi.
Ji, Rishiji.
Years of experience and salary, right? Because I have shared just one window, I don't know whether you can see it or not.
We can see.
Yes, Rishiji, we can see it.
Okay, okay, fine. So what happened here? That just a minute. Yeah. This is X and this is Y. Okay. First, we split dependent and independent variable separately. Okay. Here we are having only one independent variable, years of experience. So X is having only one column. Okay. Going forward, X may have 1,000, 1,000 we are not going to take, but it can have any number of independent variable. But there will be only one dependent variable always, only one dependent variable, which you are going to predict. Okay. Now, first we splitted X and Y. Now we are having only one set, 30. Okay. So whatever model you are going to build, how you are sure that whatever is built, it is good or bad? You need to test it. So if you use all the data in one shot, where you are going to test it? So that's why here, how many rows were there? Anyone? How many data we are having? How many rows?
30.
30, right?
30.
So these 30 readings I will split into two sets. One I will use for training, okay, building the model, and second one to test it, whether whatever I have built it is good, what is the difference. Okay, so suppose I am splitting into 2:3 ratio. 2:1 ratio means 67% training and 33% testing. So out of 30, this 20 reading, I mean till 19, 0. Okay, this will be your train, and beyond this will be your test. Okay, now this is clear, Vivek ji?
Ji Rishi ji, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, so now we splitted this. Okay, so these two, x and y, are getting split into 4 variable now. Okay, x will be splitted into x train and x test. Y will be splitted into y train, y test, and this is the syntax. Okay, I am using this module train test split, and this is the library sklearn.model selection. In this, I am importing this module train and test split. Okay, and I am giving x. First one is your dependent variable, independent variable. Okay, feature. Second variable is your dependent, the one which you want to predict. And test size you need to mention. If you mention 33% means your test will be 33, rest of the set will be training set. Okay, now random state, I explained in data processing, right? Whenever you want to run this, you want the same set. Okay, in first set, if because it divide the 30 readings randomly. Okay, so if you don't put random state, every time the set will be different whenever you will run it. So you may encounter problem in accuracy on something. So we fix it that every time splitting happens same. That is the only purpose of random state. Now, our data is prepared till here. Okay. Now, what we will do, we are importing a library. I mean, this algorithm, linear regression. We want to implement linear regression, simple linear regression, but library will be same, linear regression. We'll see that in multiple regression also how this will be used. Okay. So we created a object of it, this algorithm, linear regression. Okay. And then we fit our data, X train and Y train. Okay. This is nothing but you are training the model on line number 19. Okay, so let's execute till this point. So it is running, still running. I mean, it takes some time.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Rishi. Parmesh.
Parmesh.
ट्रेनिंग चल रहा है
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है जो हम लोग ट्रेनिंग ट्रेन कर रहे हैं जो हमारा डेटा साइज 20 और 30 रोज देना।
हाँ,
कैन यू हेल्प मी?
आपकी आवाज थोड़ी डिस्टर्ब आ रही है।
1 सेकंड बात कर लेते हैं।
हाँ,
ओके, नाउ फाइन।
हाँ, या नाउ इट इज फाइन।
या मेरा क्वेश्चन है जो हम लोग डेटा जो मतलब ट्रेंड कर रहे हैं जो इसमें नंबर ऑफ रो इज लाइक 25-30 रो हैं,
हाँ
यदि मतलब ये जो साइज है 10 साइज बहुत ज्यादा लार्ज होगा लाइक, तो फिर इसको कैसे मतलब कैसे मैं मैनेज करेंगे? यदि सेम सिस्टम पे मैं चलाऊंगा, लाइक मेरे पास मिलियंस ऑफ एक्स वाई हैं, तो हाउ वुड आई मैनेज? मतलब इसका क्या क्या अप्रोच होगी, कैसे करेंगे?
see, test size is based on your percentage. So 33% you are taking into test. I'm not hard coding that you take only that many rows. Okay. So out of 30, 33% will be test and rest of that will be training.
Yeah, that I got it, but my question is कि यदि डेटा जो डेटा आपका साइज है वो लार्ज है, लाइक 10 मिलियन है, तो हम सेम, ठीक है, सेम इक्वेशन चलाएंगे, इट विल टेक मोर टाइम और इट विल लाइक इसमें लोड भी नहीं होगा, एक सिंगल मशीन में तो लोड भी नहीं होगा ये।
हाँ, it happened.
यदि मेरा डेटा 50 जीबी है, यदि मेरा डेटा 50 जीबी है, जिसमें मतलब 10 मिलियन रो है, अभी हमारे पास 20 मिलियन या 30 मिलियन रो हैं, तो सेम इक्वेशन में रन करूंगा, आई एम नॉट गोना चेंज एनी टेस्ट साइज 33% होगा, एंड रिमेनिंग लाइक 70% जो भी होगा आपका ट्रेंड डेटा होगा। तो वो कैसे, मतलब कैसे इसको मैनेज करूंगा, मतलब एक इसकी कैसे मैं बेंचमार्क के लिमिट कैसे करूंगा?
No, it will take time. It will take time. So you need
it will take days. Yeah.
So based on your requirement, you should have that kind of systems also. When you are going to do, you should. It is going to take time because I ran on 20,000 reading. It takes around 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है इसमें कि मतलब हम लोग इसको 4-5 सिस्टम में चला सके स्प्लिट करके, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो सकता?
Yeah, that happens in case of XGBoost.
अच्छा.
Yeah, that algorithm is designed to run parallelly on multiple processors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Rishi.
Definitely, I am not done enough research on other algorithm, but I read.
Hello,
about
Rishi.
Yes, Ji, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Rishi. Yeah, just.
Otherwise you create an instance in cloud environment and run your code. Means you reside your data in the cloud and read data from there and parallelize the million of rows of data we can execute at a time. That's why big data concept there.
Yes, yeah.
But
I think you are right.
Single, standalone machine not possible. For 1 GB data, 2 GB data kind of. So this is only for training purpose we can use.
Okay, that's great. I think.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rishi.
So we ran it and we can see that we got the it made the model. Okay. Now check R square value. So this is the R square. R square nothing, but I will explain later. Okay. We'll come to R square later on, not right now. Okay. Now predicting the test result. Now what we are going to do, we build the model using the training set. Okay. Now we want to test it. I mean, whatever model we have built, we will use it on the test set to predict the value of salary. Okay. Let's execute this. And this is done. Now we'll see. Okay. You can see these window, white test and white red. Everyone can see? Okay. So now here you can see on the right hand side is your white test, means this is the actual value. Okay. And left hand side is the predicted value, which you predicting with the help of the model, which you created using training set. So first reading you can see actual value was 37,000 something, but the real the predicted value came 40,000. Some 3,000 difference is there. So second reading is almost same, 1,22,000. Yeah, 1,22,000, 1,23,000. It's almost same. Third reading, the difference is a little bit big. So this way you can see the difference between various reading from 0 to 9 means in our test set we were having 10 values, right? That's why we got these 10 readings, y bread and y test. Till now, it is clear to everyone?
Yes, Rishi.
Okay. Now I will restart the session. Okay. And next session, we'll plot this data and see what happens. Okay. So I'm going to restart the session. Please rejoin.